Ooh, get in there, my son. What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another little Manchester United news video for you. All the latest goings on, the day's latest news, and a transfer sort of roundup and look ahead to the January transfer window also. We're going to get into it tonight. We're going to give you the latest goings on at the club. Do us a favour at the start of this stream and hit the thumbs up button on it. Give it a cheeky little like. And also get your thoughts and opinions in throughout the show in the live chat. Let us know what you think about what's going on. But good to see you all. Thank you very much for joining us. A few shout outs at the start here. Rush Mano, what's going on? Boom to yourself. Jack and Brad Gaming, what's happening? Alkan Mahmood, great to see you, man. What's going on? MUFC, Stephen Carr, Eddie O2, Kelly in here as well. We've got Robin and everybody else as well. Thanks for joining us. Smash the like. If you're on catch up watching this back later, do get down below in the not live comment section with your thoughts and opinions about anything we are discussing in the show. But let's get into it then. Hello there, Playmaker, O'Day, Lamonge, Mark Coughlin, and everyone as well. Great to see you here. So, not the most news today in terms of Manchester United, a few latest goings on. I just want to cover some of the main things, before we get into the transfer news, the transfer rumblings, and the latest transfer stuff in regards to like Lingard, etc. There's a bunch of stuff to get into later. But for now, we're going to cover just a few things in regards to sort of like the aftermath of the previous game, that Young Boys game, the draw in the Champions League. Who really gives a shit? It was a trial game, really, an experimental game. And that's exactly what Rangnick said. This is what he had to say about it. He said, "It was an experiment. I did it on purpose to save the players' energy for their game against Norwich." So, yeah, obviously he's given these players that have played quite a few times this season a rest. The likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, all the rest of them that didn't play in that game. And it's a chance for him to look at the youngsters. It's an experimentation. I think it was a good experiment because we got to see, some players perform. We also got to see some players do absolutely shite. People like Donny Van Der Beek or fucking Donny Van Der Beek or Donny Van Der fucking, what's another one? Meek. You know what I mean? He was pretty meek out there. There's a very meek performance from Donny, aside from sharting the bed with giving them the goal. So, it was a good opportunity for him to have a look at some players. I'm not hating on Donny. I think he needs some more chances, but I do think it was a good chance for him to look at players who haven't had opportunities, see how they perform. People like Jay Lings as well. He had a bit of a stinker of a game, didn't really do all that much, did he? Lots of players had opportunities there to maybe stake a claim to having a place in the squad. Some of them probably impressed Rangnick. People like Mengi maybe he thought, I should have started that guy in the end, gave him a little something to consider. But other players absolutely stinking up the gaff. So it was a great experiment in the sense that we got to see a lot of players we haven't seen, a lot of youngsters as well, a couple of notable youngsters as well. Zidane Iqbal, the first British South Asian to play for Manchester United. That's a big thing. Let's get a cheeky little applause in there for that. Also, Robbie Savage's son. Charlie Savage getting his debut, and just some other youngsters playing. It's good to see Rangnick looking to the future here a little bit, experimenting, and just seeing what he's got at his disposal. Great game for him to be able to do that, have that come in. It's a glorified friendly against Young Boys. Good evening there, Eddie Trooper. What's going on, mate? How you doing? Lamonge as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Yeah, do hit the thumbs up. Do give it a share as well if you want on social media. That's always much appreciated. Everybody puts out there on Twitter. In fact, let me give a shout out to Shazad Ahmed and also Mr. MUFC Transfers _United, Matt Rush himself. Thank you so much for sharing the stream out on Twitter, mate. I can see you've done that. Appreciate that. Right then. Okay, so this is also what Scott McTominay had to say in regards to Rangnick on an interview posted today with Man United. He said, the new manager's been really, really good, and he's been good with the schedule, making sure we have enough sleep and the times wherein we can prepare. All basically just saying that everyone seems to be pretty impressed with how Rangnick's going about things at United anyway. So we don't know too much about the inner goings on, but it seems like, the squad are fighting at this moment in time to try and earn their place in the team. They're going to have to do that. Rangnick expects a lot from them. And if they don't meet that level, then they won't be in there, I'm sure. Hey, Matasima Noctem, thank you so much for getting in here, my son. He says, Lingard, Mata, Matic, Jones, out of our club urgently, please. I kind of feel for Matic getting chucked in there at centre-back in the last game. I can only assume that Rangnick just thought it was going to be similar to that Crystal Palace game where we sort of camped out in their half, and he just assumed, we would have most of the control of the game, and maybe Matic would be sitting on that centre circle, essentially, just sort of playmaking it around a little bit, but just being a glorified midfielder / centre-back when we need him. What it actually turned out to be was, I think, our midfield got overrun quite a bit against Young Boys because we were playing Mata and Donny in there. You know, don't really understand that as the sort of two midfielders there, the two holders, if you like. Mata obviously getting more forward frequently and Donny sort of holding, but not the most robust. We did get exposed a few times there. And, just didn't really work out, I don't think, as exactly as he planned. But I can sort of see what he's trying to do there anyway. But yeah, fair play to you, by the way, Metsasima. Let's get a super chat in there. I agree. All those players you said, it's time to go. A lot of them are just sort of left over from a bygone era, like just sort of relics now. Relics at this football club. We need time for a new change, time for a change, time for a fresh approach. So I respect that. Speaking of a fresh approach, Rangnick, after the game, obviously asked about Mason Greenwood. He said this. He said, on comparisons with Haaland and Greenwood, he said they're different kinds of strikers. Erling is a target striker who can play as a single striker, like a target man with another striker in a 4-4-2. I think Mason is more of a 9.5. He said Mason can play as a striker, come from the wing, and play together with another striker. Sometimes he looks a bit on an athletic level. I think we have to develop him there physically. But technically, all the things that he can do with the ball are outstanding. So Rangnick just calling him a little bit of a little bitch here, to be fair. You know, it's time to Mason a man up, toughen up here. To be fair, he's only 19. He's still got some growing to do. And in all fairness, in his physical department, he's got a lot better in the last 12 months. Physically, he looks bigger, he looks stronger. And I think he can hold people off pretty well, actually, for someone his size and age. With a little bit more muscle there, with a little bit more development, I think he's absolutely right. Mason Greenwood can have it all, really. He said, I'm not worried so much about his technical level. We need to develop him physically. He said this actually. He said Mason can play as a striker, come from the wing. Sometimes he looks a bit non-athletic, but he says, I think we need to develop him here. But technically, all the things that he can do with the ball are outstanding. And he went on to say, so I'm not so worried about his technical level. We need to develop him physically and mentally to become the strongest version of himself. And if we manage to do that, he can become a regular player and a valuable player in our club and our future. So the star boy obviously impressing Rangnick. I mean, that was a sick goal that he scored after the game. I mean, let's get some star emojis in the live chat for Mason, because that was an impressive goal. You know, that sort of overhead kick, over the shoulder, bicycle kick, volley, whatever you want to call it, was fucking awesome. It was a great finish, and that's just a little bit of what he's capable of. He does have that natural finishing ability. So just some good words there for Rangnick. It doesn't like and what I like about Rangnick is he doesn't seem to be giving people too much too soon. You know how after the game, you know, a player's looking for a glowing report or a glowing review, and he just sort of seems like one of those people that's just going to give you just enough for what you want to hear, but he's not going to go overboard, you know, like he looks good, but at the end of the day, we need to work on things. He said previously, if Mason wants to play in this team, obviously he's going to have to train well, he's going to have to prove it in training, and that's the sort of mentality that I want, demanding a better level from your team. So yeah, Mason's brilliant, but of course he's got to work on his future if he wants to be a proper star player of this football club going forward. We've got this piece of information as well. Guys, hang on a second. No, it's not really a piece of information, but new sports psychologist Sasha Lentz was spotted with the squad earlier today. Report from the MEN here. So just wanted to highlight that because obviously we've got a new sports psychologist in there, Rangnick, coming in to develop the mental game at Manchester United as well, bringing this Sasha Lentz guy in to do so. He's worked with him previously. So, this should be good for Manchester United. I'm guessing his work permit and everything has now been, approved if he's working with the squad. So that's good to know. We've got a new sports psychologist in there who's going to get into their heads. He's going to get into their heads and he's going to say, hey, Jesse Lingard, why do you go? Meow, beans. Why do you do that? No, he's not going to do that, but he's going to try and get the best out of these teams. He's going to be like, Slabby, let's get to the bottom of this. Why do you play like you're actually decent, not great, but decent for England, yet when you play for Manchester United, you might as well have a breeze block on a conveyor belt out there? Like, what is the deal? So, maybe we'll be able to get more out of these players. You know, Phil Jones needs more than a psychotherapist, I think. But certainly, I think that would help. He's got some demons within the football game, you know, injuries and confidence, and also just like being a meme. And at the end of the day, Phil Jones has got a lot of stick over the years. You need to have a thick skin, and to be fair, it must have an effect on your confidence, your mental ability to handle things, pressure, the fear of failure, and what that could do, what an error could do for you mentally, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really thinking that actually it could be a good thing to have a mental coach around. So yeah, get in there. Hey, no worries, Connor Matthews. Good to see you in here. What's going on, mate? Mark Coughlin, Stephen Carr, Shazad, Get in there, my friend. Thank you so much. He says, you can't penetrate Slabby's head. That's pure cement. Great point, Robin. Great point. I know people say that the brain is grey matter, but in regards to Slabby Maguire, it's a different type of grey matter. It's the type of grey matter that's fucking 2 parts sand and 4 parts concrete mix, mate. I agree. So, yeah, fair play. You bring up a good point there. Maybe rather than a mental coach, what you need is like, I don't know, a bricklayer or something to try and get into the interior. Good shout. Anyway, Playmaker says Slabby Maguire plays with bricks on his feet and a breeze block on his head. So, you've got a good point there. He's basically just a large Lego man, isn't he? No, listen, I don't want to get personal about Slabby Maguire, but he's not good enough for United. He's not up to standard. We know that. I hope that Ralf Rangnick sees that and goes, you know what? Look at the performances of Eric Bailly recently. Looks pretty good. Let's stick him in there alongside Varane. They've both got pace. They're both strong in the air, both good in the tackle, both quick, especially with a high press team, can really help you on the defensive when you've got a break against you. So I think that Bailly and Varane could be a great centre-back combo. Let's hear your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about it. Centre-back pairing for Manchester United going forward. For me, Bailly and Varane. If they're both fit, that's who I want to see. If Varane's not fit, I want to see Bailly and Lindelof. And if Bailly's not fit, I want to see Lindelof and Varane. I don't want to see Harry Maguire, who went in near the starting 11. He did the right thing by not playing him the last game, but that's just because he's resting everyone. He gave the captaincy to somebody else. That's going to be a key point for us against Norwich at the weekend. Who's going to have the captain's armband? I hope it's not Harry Maguire. Like I said, I don't think he deserves to be starting in the team at the moment, based just solely on form. Not based on anything else, just on form. Should not be starting in the team ahead of the likes of Bailly and Lindelof. So, yeah, I would like to see him do something big and make a claim and give it to somebody else. Bailly and Varane, says Eddie O2. Victor and Varane, says Ride the Spiral. Iceman and Varane, says Jack and Bragan. I love it how everybody's just saying basically the same thing, but getting it in there in a different way. Pox says Maguire reminds me of a young Sylvester. What? Sylvester had pace for days. Do you mean Sylvester the cat from Sylvester and Tweety or Tweety Pie or whatever? Is that what you mean? I thought I saw a putty cat. Is that what you mean? I get that. Hey, Berber, thanks so much, my friend. Great to see you in, my man. He says, smash a like and subscribe. Yes, do hit the thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button if it's your first time here as well. You know it makes sense. Cheers, lad. Cheers. What's up, Ted Zavala? Absolute legend in here. What's going on, broski? Right, let me get back into the news then, peeps. So there you go. Sasha Lentz spotted with the squad earlier, I should say. By the way, some stats have come out about who the most progressive player is for each player in the Premier League so far this season. I'll just ask you, I mean, you may have seen it anyway, but if you haven't, who do you think is the most progressive player at Manchester United so far this season, based on an average of how many forward passes they play in a game so far this season? Who do you think the most progressive player for Manchester United is? I mean, I guess it's between a couple of easy ones. If I hadn't have seen this, I would have thought it would probably be Bruno Fernandes, because Bruno Fernandes plays a lot of forward passes and he's obviously trying to make things happen a lot. And up there as well, you would have to say, yes, it is Paul Pogba, Shazaram, and absolutely Pogba is the one. Donny says Timothy Robert. Ride the Spiral says Bruno. Jack and Brad Gamer says Bruno. I would have thought it was Bruno, but it's not. It's Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is the most progressive player for Manchester United in the Premier League so far this season, and only Leicester City and Newcastle rely on their most progressive passer more for progressive passers than United rely on Paul Pogba for them. Apparently, these are the latest stats that have come out. Who moves the ball forward for each Premier League team the most is determining the most progressive passer for each Prem side, and the reliance on that player by calculating his percentage share of team progressive passes per 90 minutes. Minimum 500 minutes played. What I would say about this is Paul Pogba hasn't played as many games as some of the other players this season. So if you're just talking about from 500 minutes minimum, that's not that doesn't tell the whole story of the season in all fairness. So in reality, this is probably a shit stat, but I just thought it was interesting because Paul Pogba, he is a creative player. He is somebody that he's got all the range of passes on him. And if you could get him like pressing the opposition and working super hard, but also having that creative ability to move it forward quickly, he could actually be an asset in a Rangnick type system. But actually, based on what he's done at United over the last 5 years and his style and how he's played individually and how he goes about it, I don't really think he's got the tenacity to do it. Honestly, don't. But I would like to see it, I guess. Only thing is, in regards to Pogba, is he's injured out now anyway for a couple of months, so it's just a moot point. Plus, he's probably going to be leaving for PSG in the summer. His injury is going to basically linger on until just after the January transfer window, I'd imagine, and then you'll probably see him move on in the summer. That's my hunch. I think he joins PSG on a free, just like Wijnaldum did, just like Messi, Sergio Ramos did, Donnarumma did. You know, they go and all take this big fat payday, and that's what it is in Paris, baby. You're not going to play for a Farmers League and a Farmers League, a bunch of, against a bunch of milkers, really, are you, for anything less than a shitload of cash? So that's what it is. That's what it is. And I think that's what will happen. Yeah, now 786 says Pogba can do one. Oscar, there is going to be FIFA a bit later on the channel, mate. Yes, indeed. Right then. Okay, so that's pretty much all I just wanted to cover just a little bit of the United news for today there, before we get into the sort of main topic of the video. And I want to hear your thoughts on everything as we go throughout, so do get yourself involved. But yeah, so let's get into it. The most likely possible transfers in the January transfer window, we got a top 5 list for you here, my friends. We're going to kick off with number 1, and it's not in any particular order, but maybe I'm starting with the most realistic here, which is Jesse Lingard. Now, I'm just going to pop this graphic up on the screen here, because Jesse Lingard is hotly tipped to move in January. His contract's running out. He's only got until the summer. He's got a valuation at this current moment in time of somewhere between 10 and 15 million pounds because of the length of time that's left on his contract. He also has a lot of interest from a couple of other clubs, that we've heard, like Everton. We've even heard links to clubs in Spain. But it's definitely understood that West Ham and Newcastle United are the 2 teams that will be leading the chase to sign Jesse. And Newcastle have got a shitload of cash. They've just they've just got a new owners, I should say, and they're obviously looking to sign new players in January and improve their team. They improved their squad. It's a bit of a shit squad. They've got to get players out. They've got to get players in. Jesse Lingard's perfect for them. And West Ham want him because he was great for them last season. He had a fantastic loan spell. He scored them a bunch of goals, got a couple of player of the months. He was absolutely brilliant. And David Moyes, the Ginger Goblin, is doing bits this season with West Ham as well. And I'm sure that he would only be keen to add Jesse Lingard to his squad because, he's a good player. He proved that last season for them. He's just not cut out for the very top level of this game, I don't think. And Ralf Rangnick might want to keep the guy. But did you see Jesse Lingard's performance the other night? I don't know if we gave him a player rating, actually. I think I forgot about him because it was just such a non-performance from Jesse. But what rating would you give Jesse for his performance the other night against Young Boys, guys? Ride the Spiral says, bye Lingard. Yeah, it's time to go, isn't it? It's time to go. Thank you, Eddie says, keep hitting the likes, guys. Thank you very much. He'll do good at West Ham, says Robin. That's a weird picture, says Naz786. Well, it's, he's got the old West Ham / Newcastle kit on, mate. He's one of those 2-kit wankers. Okay, 4 out of 10, says Will. 2 out of 10. Wow, okay, a little bit harsh. 2 out of 10 says Ride the Spiral. 3 says Playmaker. 1 says Naz. Hey, Box, he says 5. Kenny says 4. So Eddie says 4. Simpson says 0. So I would give him somewhere in the region of a 4 as well. Which basically means it was a proper non-performance. Really disappointing. He didn't really put up a good display. In fact, he didn't give it the old beans at all. It was very disappointing. And for somebody that is supposed to be coming in to impress the new manager and who hasn't played for a while, supposed to be chomping at the bit, I kind of think it was a little bit telling. I'll be honest. It didn't look like he really was working that hard for Jesse. When I think of Jesse Lingard, I personally think of just a non-stop workhorse, like a bit of a pressing machine. He's always running around. He was doing that yesterday, but it's not. I don't know. He just didn't really look arsed, I guess. Maybe that's it. Maybe he was just like, what am I doing in this non-game? I don't know. But he wasn't interested in the game to me. He didn't seem in the game that much. And to me, he just seems like somebody that maybe he's just decided his time's up at United. He's had a good run. He's never going to be a bigger part of this squad than what he is now, which is just a bit part player. And it's time for him to go to greener pastures to further his career, possibly getting Gareth Southgate's Qatar 2022 World Cup side. He's not going to do that at United, being a third choice player. So it's time for him to go. He has two choices. There's a choice of staying at Manchester United until the end of the season and running down your contract, and then having the ability to sign for whatever club you want on a free transfer. You can actually agree to sign for them early as well, but, join them in the summer. He could sign for a lot of different clubs, probably get a little bit more money as well if he leaves in the summer. Or if a team comes in January with a decent offer, then Manchester United will surely have to accept it, because you're just going to lose this guy for nothing in the summer. And, well, there's three options, actually. There is three options. I guess the other option is still Manchester United could possibly sign him up to a new contract. But it's not a very realistic option, I don't think, right now. Why do we need him? He's already on big money, probably more money than is justified for his input into the squad. And so it doesn't really make sense to spend more money. He'll probably want, if anything, more money on his contract. If I'm Jesse Lingard, I'm looking at the possibility of going to Newcastle United as a big payday, because he probably could get more money at Newcastle United with their current situation and their current need for him. He could be a great player for 5 years for Newcastle to take them from, to help take them from being a shitty lower team to, up there 6th place or something. He could probably do that. He's a decent standard player. So, and he's homegrown and all the rest of it. He's got no length on his contract. He's not good enough for United. We should just let him go for 10, 12 million and try and recoup, a little bit of that cash before he goes for free. Sell him in January to West Ham, maybe with an option of a loan to buy. I suppose that's a possibility as well. They seem to be quite interested in that last season, but really we want to get him off of our books. And not even a loan to buy wouldn't even work, would it? Unless Manchester United signed him up to a new contract or extended it for another year or something, because, essentially his contract runs out in the summer of 2022. So, yeah, it's really just a case of who wants to come in and buy him on a transfer permanent basis in Jan, or who wants to wait until the summer and pick him up. I'm going to ask you this. Where do you see Jesse Lingard's future is in the English Premier League? Or it might even not be in the English Premier League, but where do you think it is? I think it's going to be, most realistically, West Ham. That is the odds maker favourites right now, is West Ham, just above Newcastle United. And there's, of course, Manchester United. Where do you think he ends up? Let's say, where do you think he starts the next season then? I'll just ask you that. West Ham, Newcastle United, Manchester United, Everton. Let me know what you guys are saying. Playmaker says West Ham. Eddie O2 says Norwich. He could take Newcastle from 20th to 18th, says Rushmana. That's a good one. He can take Newcastle from 20th to 18th. Not Newcastle, bad move, says Mark Hoffman. Do you really think so? I think maybe it could be a good move for him financially. A Man United Hodge, man, thank you so much for getting in here with a $2 Ozzadolly super chat there, my son. He says, give us your best. So that was a bit shit, wasn't it? Wait, let me do that again. So it's two. No, wait. So I don't know. I can't do it now. Man United Hodge, you've made me look a right tit there. Let me try again. So or whatever. Anyway, I can't get the tone right. I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment. Okay, yes. Man United Hodge, thank you so much for your $2 Aussie dollar super chat. Let's get a cheeky little super chat emoji in there for him. Thank you so much. Kingface, what's going on, mate? Good to see you, man. What's going on? So Jesse Lingard is the biggest candidate to leave Manchester United this window. It's understood that Rangnick's not exactly going to be given a load of money to sign players. He has earmarked a couple of players, but he's probably going to have to sell a couple of players in order to get the money. There is a couple of players. Before we get onto the ins, I just want to mention Edinson Cavani as well. So Edinson Cavani is a player that, I think we all love at Manchester United. He was a perfect signing for us last year. Got 17 goals in all competitions. Didn't play all the games, but whenever he played, he was very committed and did very well. And I think we all very much grew fond of Edinson Cavani at this football club. But there are reports to suggest that Barcelona would like to take him because they've got to sell a bunch of players in this window and they sort of need to have a bit of a reshuffle. They're supposedly in a load of debt and they are trying to get a few players off the books. So they've got a list of a few players that are available to purchase in January. This is what the latest understanding is about Barca's situation. And they're looking for a goal scorer. Edinson Cavani is kind of semi-available in the sense that Manchester United are only going to keep him to the end of the year anyway, realistically, and he's not really the number one choice at the football club right now because of Ronaldo being there. Depends on the formation, of course, what Rangnick's going to do. I think Cavani Ronaldo would be amazing, but that is another possibility as well for another player. So the second player that's possibly going away in January, which is not that realistic if you ask me, I'll probably just give it a 3 out of 10 really, because he seems very happy here. In fact, this is an update from him just a couple of days ago here, already with the group. The tendon problem that he's had is obviously improving. He's back training, obviously, with the side. He wants to get ready. One thing you have to say about Edinson Cavani is his love for Manchester United seems genuine. I mean, he's only been here a short moment. Maybe it's just how he is. Maybe he's just a very respectful person. But he just seems to have, got the football club. You know how players come in here and they just seem to have an affinity for the football club. Well, that is what I feel with Edinson Cavani. I feel like he's very proud to play for Manchester United. He understands the history and the traditions of this great football club, and he's a part of that. He understands what's come before him, and I just get that sense from him that he likes being a Manchester United player. So, maybe I'm wrong, but I do get that. So with Edinson, maybe he wants to stay, maybe he wants to, fulfill the rest of the season and see what happens, because we are on the verge of maybe doing something special. There's a lot of question marks, of course, whether Rangnick can get this team firing, but he's got a great squad there to work with, and I'm sure a lot of us, we'd be hoping to maybe snag a trophy or something this season and just try and win something here. Cavani is a great player. He's not going to feature that much for United this season. That's the only problem, because of who we've got available up top there, Ronaldo, and we also have other forward players that, going to play sometimes too. So depends on the formation. If there is a 2 up top, though, I could see him featuring a lot more. So it depends what Rangnick wants to do also. He's not just going to let his really good backup striker go easy. But if there was a decent offer that came in, I guess, for Barcelona, then maybe Cavani would be tempted, just because he's not going to feature at United as much as he may feature over there. He might have a bigger role over there, and he might relish playing for that club as well. So we have to just see on that one. It's not the biggest, strongest link. I personally think he stays. What do you think? What do you think happens with Edinson Cavani? Do you think he's still here after the January transfer window, or do you think he goes? Stay or goes? What do you think, guys? Have a vote. I personally do think that he stays until the end of the season, and maybe he goes there in the summer. But there are links that he could go in January, because they're looking to offload players and sell players, release a bit of money off the wages, and obviously recoup some cash and also invest it wisely elsewhere. And obviously Edinson's an aging player who in the short term is still good enough at the top level, but because he's an aging player, he comes with the caveat that, you don't have to pay a lot of money for the guy. He's not the most expensive of top tier players, because, he's literally old. Yeah, most of you agree as well. Yeah, Playmaker says stays. Mark Coughlin says stays. Aaron Homeward says stays. Eddie O2 getting in here raw. He says go. We need fresher, hungrier players. You what, hungrier than Cavani? Cavani could have 6 breakfasts and still want a brunch. You know what I'm saying? This guy is a hungry individual. In my opinion, okay, he's not fresh. He's definitely not young. I'll give you that. But he's hungry. He seems committed. He seems like he wants to win. And, okay, I see what you're saying. For the future, we absolutely do need to start bringing new players in, like somebody like a Haaland or something in the future would be brilliant. But right now, Edinson's a hungry player who wants to play. I guess we'll see how hungry he is, I guess, because if he's prepared to just play a bit part role at the club and be happy with that, then maybe he's not as hungry as I suggest he is. But whenever he plays on the pitch, though, I do get the impression like he is fucking loving it, and he just wants to try and work and give it his all. So I think he's hungry from that sense. But I guess I know what you're saying. Maybe he's not. Okay, he's got nothing to prove at this stage, right? So if you look at the youngsters, people like Greenwood or Haaland and Mbappe, all these guys coming up, they obviously have things to prove in the game. Cavani, he's 35. So in terms of experience, he's obviously done a lot. He hasn't actually won all that much, has he, Cavani? I mean, let's have a look. I mean, let's have a look at Cavani's all-time trophies. Let me just take a look. I mean, he obviously won a bit in France, but does that even count? Does that even count? Let's take a look. Titles and achievements. So, so that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Does League One count, guys? Yes or no? I don't think it counts. So this is what he won. 4 French Cups with Paris Saint-Germain. They don't count. They don't count. 1 Uruguayan champion. Okay, fair enough. 7 French Super Cup winners with PSG. They don't count. 5 French League Cup winners. They don't count. And 6 French champions. They don't count. So, you know, he's actually not won that much. No, I'm joking. Look, he's won quite a bit there. But in terms of Champions Leagues, in terms of the major trophies, he's won a Copa America, to be fair, with Uruguay. In terms of major trophies, you know, he's not won it, has he? He's never won the Champions League. So, anyway, all I'm saying is, Edinson's a quality player with that experience. But if he wants to go, I'd understand it, because he's sort of playing second fiddle to Cristiano Ronaldo at the top there. Hey, Zayn Miyasi, what's going on, Zayn? How you doing there, dude? It's Zayn Miyasi in the house, getting in here with a rolling around, laughing pear emoji. What's going on, Zayn Miyasi? How you doing? What's Arsenal's next signing? I wonder what Arsenal's next signing could be. Maybe it'd be, I reckon Arteta's interested in Phil Jones for £90 million. That's what I heard. Guys, there's a rumour going around Arteta wants Phil, but he's only interested in if he's about 100 million. Because they like to overpay for players at Arsenal, you see. They like to just spend money willy-nilly. Anyway, thank you, Sammy Ashley. Let's get a cheeky little super chat emoji in there for him. Thank you very much, Sammy Ashley. Hope you're having a good one anyway. Love Cavani, but always injured. Hopefully he'll keep fit until the season ends, then sell, says Big God Bob. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It would be much better. We'd be a much stronger squad if we kept Cavani here between now and the end of the season to come in and deputise for Ronaldo, but also not just deputise, but also play alongside Ronaldo. Just think of this 4-2-2-2 system. If you had Cavani and Ronaldo up there, and Cavani is a pressing beast, then there's every possibility that we could be a damn force this season. They're both great finishers as well. Cavani's a rugged individual. He's like, he's a workhorse. He presses the opposition. You know, he does a lot for the team. He'll come back and he'll be like the second support striker more so of the two. Ronaldo's obviously going to be the more advanced striker, but I think they can both obviously do that job, pressing and running around like a couple of madmen up there. That if they've got the support behind them as well, they will both get chances. So I think it's a very much a good look for United if we can play Cavani and Ronaldo together. In fact, in a 4-2-2-2 system, that is exactly who I want to see play together. That's the starting players for the big games or for when everyone's fit in the league and you've got to pick your best team. Ronaldo and Cavani up top as strikers. What do you guys think about that? Listen, I know they're not going to be able to play every game and they're not going to be able to play 90 minutes of every game either. Certainly Cavani, you know, you're going to have to manage him. He is injury prone. So you've got to be careful. But who is your two strikers, guys? If we were playing a 4-2-2-2, then who is your strikers? Mine would be Ronaldo and Cavani. If everybody's fit, I believe Cavani could be the more selfless player of the two up top there, and Ronaldo more so of the finisher. But of course, they're going to have to press. They're going to have to be part of the team press and everything. Hey, George Ivanov, man, thank you so much for the 10 PGN super chat, my son. Come on, get in there, my son. Let's be having you. Hey, everyone, let's get a cheeky little Sue in the hell yeah in there. Sorry, guys, I've got gas. I'm drinking Coca-Cola, yeah. It's never a good idea. I always forget. I should just have a glass of water for these streams. This just gives me raw gas. But anyway. Hey, thank you so much, by the way, there. I really appreciate you, George. Everyone, get a Saul in there. Thank you. He says, what a legend, man. Right back at you. Thank you so much for the support with the super chat there, man. Absolute don. So there you go. Anyway, but Eddie Cavani is just somebody that I really admire. I think he's a great player, and I think he gives us all for United whenever he is on the pitch. So I think he would be good. So what do you guys think then? I think, yeah, those would be the best two. You got Ronnie and Edinson, says Madhouse. Arteta in, says Rushmano. Get the Artetas in. Greenwood and Ronaldo, says Malps. Well, there's a good shout as well. See, that's perfect for me. I think having Cavani and Ronaldo playing up top together is like a duo of penetrazione. And then you've got Mason Greenwood coming through, the youngster who's just basically like learning from the two gods in front of him to be the future GOAT. Mason Greenwood, future Ballon d'Or winner, future GOAT, learning from the couple of GOATs and deputising them for them. Imagine being Mason Greenwood growing up, watching the game of football, and now all of a sudden at 19 years of age he's playing alongside and supporting the likes of Ronaldo and Cavani. It must be pretty mad to be Mason Greenwood right now when you think about it. But yeah, absolutely deputising for those guys, learning their tricks of the trade and hopefully turning into a wicked forward striking player as well. I know obviously Rangnick said he seems in more of a 9.5. I see him more of a 9, to be honest. I think Mason Greenwood, if you stick him up there and, if he can adapt the rest of his game as well, like we say, get more physical as well. He's got all the finishing ability. But he can beat a player, he can create as well. So I sort of see where Ralph's coming from. But I think just as a finisher, as an outright forward player to cap goals off and find that bottom corner with that finishing ability, he's just got a natural adeptness at it. Gets in there, Mason Greenwood. So yeah, would love to see him deputise for Eddie and Ronnie at the moment. Ronnie and Greenwood, says Naz. Dracula forever, says Kelly. I want to suck your blood. Yes, absolutely. Arteta in. Dracula forever. Rushmana says, Zane, you lost to Michael Carrick, mate. Zane Miassi, is he giving it the pig in the live chat? Oh, goodness me. Zane, he says, Smith, Rose, Saka and Martinelli better strike force under a proper manager. I don't think they will, Zane. I mean, I think you seem to think that they're much better than they are, because like Rushmana just said, if they were that great, they wouldn't have allowed Michael Carrick, Mr. Caretaker manager, to slap them up so easy, would he? I mean, they're decent players, Zane. They're decent players, but come on. Compared to United's youngsters, they're second rate. You're good, kid, real good. But as long as Rashford and Greenwood is around, you'll always be second best, see? Zamie, I see it's unfortunate, but it's true. Sit down. Yes, there is. Rupert Meadow will be back on 11:30ish for the FIFA tonight as well, dude. Thank you for reminding me. Everyone, we've got 116 of you in here right now. Let's see if we can get 116 likes on the video. That helps us out on the YouTube algorithm. So I'll say it again. Smash the like button. Please do give it a like. Leave a thumbs up. If it's your first time on the channel, you're welcome to get involved in the live chat. Just don't be a knob. And get involved. Smash a like, smash a subscribe, and all that good stuff. Okay. Right then, so Jesse Lingard, Edinson Cavani, their possibilities, of course, for maybe leaving then, but it's not that realistic for Cavani. It's much more realistic for Jesse. West Ham are supposedly leading the chase to sign Jesse in January, after details have emerged of an offer that they've perhaps put on a table for United here, just, speculative stuff. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he's obviously didn't have a great game against Young Boys. He didn't look that impressive. If I'm Ralf Rangnick, I'm looking at him going, yeah, he's not got long on his contract. We could get 10 or 12 million, which I can put towards maybe a midfielder in the Jan window. Yeah, let's sell him to West Ham. I honestly think that is the best thing for us to do right now too. He is a decent squad player. He is a good player in the sense that he's on the cusp of the England team. He's had many caps for England. He's been winning things at Manchester United. He's an FA Cup winner, Europa League, all the rest of it. He's won some stuff. He's a good standard player. He's in his prime. He's a good player, but he's just not good enough for Manchester United. And that's what we care about. So see you later on, Jesse. Right then. Okay, so like I said a moment ago, Barcelona, we're on to number 3 now. Barcelona have supposedly got a list of some players that they need to try and sell sooner rather than later because of financial problems at the club. And also they want to strengthen other areas of the team. And in order to do that, they're pretty much going to have to sell players in certain positions. So this is the current situation. A report claims that Frankie de Jong is interested, or Manchester United are interested in Frankie de Jong. So they signed him for 65 million from Ajax in the summer of 2019. He's had an up and down time at Camp Nou. But Xavi, obviously, a couple of weeks ago said that he will not leave the club. He's a major part of his plans. But Barcelona have been sharting the bed. They've dropped out into the Europa League. Oh, a.k.a. Barcelona, fucking suck it. Still better than Arsenal, though. You know what I mean? Still better team than Arsenal. But still, though, back down into the Europa League, guys. Got to love that. I do like to see Barcelona floundering just a little bit because they've had such a period of dominance, in the 2000s, of course. And really, they've been a very, very top team for all that time. United have fallen out of it. A lot of teams have fallen out of it, but they've always been pretty constant. But not now. They're in the Europa League. They're having a nightmare. And that's how it is. I think he's a great player. He's a very wonderfully talented player. So these are quotes from Barca president Joan Laporta, who said this. quoted in El Nacional. He said, the club is working to strengthen the team in the winter transfer window. If a new signing arrives, someone has to leave. So those are direct quotes from Barca president Joan Laporta in regards to the January transfer window. So it sounds like they are trying to do some business to bring players in, which is why there's some links to people like Edinson Cavani because he's cheaply available. If he was to want to leave United for whatever reason, then he'd be cheaply available. And then, and then sell some of their other prized possessions who are younger, who have that big valuation to them still. Like I said, they signed him for £65 million. He's not the oldest, of course. He's still developing. He's still getting better. He's still a great talent and will only get better. So, for Manchester United, it's exactly who we should be looking at, really. That sort of player, a really top standard player that can improve and get better with and whilst at United. That is what we're looking for. So, it's not the most realistic again because it would involve a shitload of cash being spent, talks of at least £50 million, maybe even more in order to get De Jong. And Xavi, obviously, a couple of weeks ago said that, he doesn't want to see De Jong leave the club at all. But recently, these comments from the president of Barca makes you think that maybe they would be quite keen to cash in on some of their prize assets so they can spread the money around and pay off some financial problems that they've got, but also invest in other areas of the team. So that is the understanding at this moment in time. They might almost be forced into doing it, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Naz says Barcelona should appoint Oli. Do you mean Nigel de Jong, says El Professor? Oh, what Zane said now? Oh, Zane's just chatting absolute shite in the chat, is he? He's talking what about De Jong? Let me guess. I haven't even seen his comment, but I guess, De Jong would rather go to Arsenal, would he? Oh, De Jong to Arsenal. You just saw it coming. There's no way that De Jong would go to Arsenal. I mean, maybe Nigel de Jong. He's right about that one. I agree with that. Maybe Nigel de Jong would be interested in signing for you, but I don't think Frankie de Jong is coming to play for Arsenal anytime soon. But for United, it's a possibility. So there you go. There's a third option. Frankie de Jong. We'll have to wait and see on that one. I don't think it's that realistic for January because he would be a lot of money. Depends what sort of work United do in between now and then. Just want to talk about this. This is not one of the ones on the list, but I just wanted to mention it because Mino Raiola confirms Erling Haaland transfer plan amid Manchester United and Man City interest. There's no real basis for this in January at all, so I'm not talking about it in this list. But he just gave an update to give an update on what Raiola said. He said, we can influence the market with a player like Erling. It's not the market that influences us. We know that. Now we talk about a game. He said, with my players, I have changed the transfer market. We advisors have created a second game besides football, the transfer market. Now we talk about a game 2 days a week and transfers 5 days a week. Maybe the sports directors hate me. I don't hate anyone myself. I just do my job. And I like to go beyond boundaries. This guy's got a real high opinion of himself, doesn't he, this twat? Doesn't he? He's created a second game at which we play 5 days a week. Piss off! Mino Raiola, absolute pie fingerer. This guy pisses me off, honestly. Is it just me? Whatever this guy says just winds me out. He's such an idiot. But anyway, there you go. He's obviously a very clever idiot, if that's a bit of an oxymoron there. Oh, he's a bit of an oxymoron himself. Because, let's face it, he's minted. But he's obviously taken a lot of the money out of this game that we call football. It is a bit of a disgrace. He just doesn't, I personally don't think he does want what's best for his players and their careers. He wants what's best for their bank accounts and his. That's the truth of it. Like most football agents. I mean, some football agents out there are wholesome. Some football agents just want the best for a player. You know, if your family as well as your agent, you see that sometimes. Of course, they're going to want what's best for you. But in regards to Raiola, it just seems like he just wants money for all of his players. And in some ways, maybe that is what's best for them. But career-wise, it's never a good idea to play for, say, PSG instead of Manchester United right now. That's not a good look for me. I think it'd be much more sense from a career point of view to stay at United, if you're Paul Pogba, for instance, than go to PSG. But I don't want Pogba to stay. I'm just saying I bet Raiola wants him to go so he can get a fat payday. But anyway, let's get some poo-poo emojis in there for Mino Raiola. Absolutely, Mouse. All football agents are leeches, man. You're spot on there. He's a moron with an oxy, says Robin. Clever idiot. What a next stupid genius, says Big Bob. Exactly. He is an oxymoron. But anyway, okay, so yes, we have a few things coming in here. Thank you, Rushmano, by the way. So yes, in regards to what we're talking about with Erling Haaland, though, obviously with Riola, Borussia Dortmund issue a transfer update on him as well. I think, it says not available, actually. Give me a second. But yes, it does seem like, there's obviously some rumblings of Erling Haaland, what's going to happen with him for the future. So Borussia Dortmund issue Erling Haaland transfer update amid Manchester United Man City links. And those are the quotes from Riola there, obviously. So very, very interesting. Also, what's this? Brendan Rodgers' poor record in Europe continues. Brendan Rodgers is a shithouse. Nobody wants that guy. Who wants Brendan Rodgers? Thank you for the update here, by the way. What's this? Fabrizio Romano with an update here says that Alex Collado leaves Barcelona in order to join Granada on loan until June. This is just breaking news today. But there's no option to buy included. Granada are expected to pay his full salary until the end of the season. Barca are working to sell/offload players in order to announce new signings in January. Yeah, that's basically what I was just saying. Let's have a look at this then. Nice one. So let's have a look at this. Here you go. Capture. Sorry, 2 secs. Let me put this in there. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so this is the latest from Fabrizio Romano. We've got a little update tonight. Thank you, Rushmano, for giving us the latest updates as they come in. So Alex Collado has joined Granada on loan from Barcelona until June. But there's no option to buy, but Granada are just paying his full salary until the end of the season. Barca are currently working to offload and sell players in order to announce new signings in January, which is where these new links are coming from. So they do want to sort of redistribute their wages and redistribute their values of their players. They want to sell certain players, which are maybe worth a lot in positions they've got maybe more players in, and then they want to redistribute that throughout the squad and buy a couple of players, which is why they've been linked to players like, Cavani, etc. So, yeah, absolutely, that is the latest news there in regards to Barca and maybe Manchester United being offered certain players. There's talks of De Jong, there's talks of people like Coutinho being bandied around for various clubs to be offered. Ousmane Dembele. There's so many different players on big money at Barca, and they want to get rid of them. And so they're going to offer them to a lot of teams between now and January. And there's expected that there'll be not a mass exodus, but a semi-exodus of players out of the club in January. A few players going out on loan with an option to buy, transfer permanent here, little loan here with no option to buy. Different various transfers that could take place between now and then. So keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled because Barcelona are in the mud. Let's all laugh at Barca. No, seriously, it's fun. But at the same time, they actually do have to do something with their squad. They're going to have to sell certain players. They're going to have to get new key ones in certain positions that could benefit them. So it should be an interesting January window for them. Good point, Robin. I can't see him staying, says Mark Coughlin. Robin says, what about Griezmann? Will he return to Barca? There you go. So great point. He's obviously out on loan, right? So Griezmann, will he return to Barca? Well, this is a great question. I can't see him staying. He was on big money, right? Aaron Homeyard says, we've got buffering issues, do we? Smash a 1 if it's buffering. Smash a 2 if it's not buffering. Let me know. Apparently we've got bufferation issues. Oh, everybody's saying it. Oh, that's not good. I know, it's just Aaron, actually. Aaron, stop making me worry with your gas-tastic Poundland internet, mate. Everybody says it's fine, mate. Bloody hell. Ray UK says, Big Zlatan, are you going to sign a new deal at AC Milan or retire? My name is Zlatan, and I'm lying, my friend. Zlatan does not tell you of Zlatan's future. Zlatan just does what Zlatan wants. If Zlatan wants to play till Zlatan is 58, Zlatan will do this. Zlatan does not believe in age. Age believes in Zlatan. Anyway, thank you. Okay, no buffering. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that one. Thank you so much, though. Thanks, Aaron Homeyard, for the false flag there, my son. Appreciate that. Anyway, right, okay, so there you go. There's the Fab update. We basically were saying that a moment ago anyway in regards to Barcelona and what they were needing to do this window is to try and sell players to recoup a bit of cash and also to redistribute it amongst the squad to have a better chance of being a better team. And plus, they're just going down levels now. They're in the Europa League. They got a lot of Champions League money players, and they're playing the Europa League. They've got to mix it around a little bit. So there you go. Anyway, Barcelona in financial peril, and that is the latest from Fab Romano there. Thank you for the update, sir. But God Bob says, use Rangnick's arrival to get Haaland at any cost. I can see it happening in the summer. I can see it happening this summer, Big God Bob. You know, it might be a possibility. Right, let's get back into the top 5 list, guys. Once again, if you're just joining us for the video tonight, do leave a like on the video and give it a share around on social media if you want to. Great to have you all aboard the Bacon Express tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Do keep your arms and legs in the vehicle, though. And hang on to your seats, baby, because this one's going to be a screamer. I do think this January transfer window is going to be an interesting one, though. I think we're going to sign somebody. Now, I don't know who it's going to be, but I think we're going to sign somebody. Which brings me on to my next point here about the next possible Rangnick transfer this summer, which we've discussed a couple of times already, but it is obviously one of the most likely, which is Amadou Hydera. Now, who is Amadou Hydera? If you don't know, he's a midfielder who plays for RB Leipzig in the Bundesliga and the Mali international team. He was born in Mali, Bamako, Mali, began his youth career at the JMG Academy there, and was snapped up by Austrian side Red Bull Salzburg in 2016. He then spent a couple of seasons there and also went out on loan to an Austrian second division side, and then he was snapped up by RB Leipzig in 2018-19. And since then, he played 12 times the first season, and then he has scored 9 goals in 83 appearances for Leipzig, and he was also the part of the team that reached the 2019-2020 Champions League semis. And he also scored against Manchester United last season in that 3-2 victory in December. He's a multifaceted midfielder. He can play as a holding midfielder, but also he's a box-to-box player. So he can play. He's played most of the season this season in a 2-man sort of holding midfield for Leipzig. But he's got the ability to get forward and score goals as well. If we just said he scores about 1 in 8 or 9 in average from that position, which is pretty good. But he is known for being, both a defensive and an attacking midfielder. And under Julian Nagelsmann, he was used in an advanced role quite a bit previously while he was at the club. And so, yeah, he's got a bit about him. He's only 23. He seems very athletic. I haven't watched much of the German league. I only know of him from looking at YouTube videos and things like that myself, really, if I'm being totally honest. But he looks very good. What can you really gauge from that? Well, he's got a lot of hype about him. His statistics are good. And he's got a lot of energy and he works super hard off of the ball. These are notable points about this guy. These are things that Rangnick loves, that Rangnick would be interested in, and that we would be interested in a Rangnick system. So he's also got a great range of passing on him, which sort of, which sets him aside a little bit. He's got a great range of passing, physically strong, and a very, very good work rate as well. So when you're talking about people like Paul Pogba, who are great when it comes to technique and passing ability, but when it comes to the rest of it, when it comes to work rate, when it comes to the mental aspect, the get up and go nature out there on the pitch, maybe this guy would be better, is what I'm saying, in a Rangnick system. We'll have to wait and see what Paul Pogba can do. Like we've said, in terms of progressive forward passes, the stats suggest that Paul Pogba is one of United's best players for that. And also pressing-wise as well, surprisingly, he's behind Fred this season for most presses of the opposition up until before Rangnick came in anyway. So, yeah, you'd have to say that maybe he would be a good signing. He has some good skills. I mean, what do you think? Smash a 1 in the live chat if you'd be interested in seeing Amadou Hydera sign for Manchester United in the January transfer window. So this is why there's a chance of this deal and why we're talking about it and why it's been such a prevalent name in the last couple of weeks in this January window. Previously we were talking about Ruben Neves or whoever. Well, now it's this guy. It's because Rangnick is known to be a big fan of this guy. And, not just from managing him, but he also helped recruit the player. He recruited him for Red Bull Salzburg back in the day. And then obviously they moved to like their sister club or whatever they are, part of the RB brand, to Leipzig later on in the German league. That seems to be what happens with a lot of players, really. But also another reason why they would be interested in him is because his valuation's not that big. I think he has a clause in his contract, a release fee, which is understood to be £33 million. So at the absolute most, this guy would cost £33 million, which for a 23-year-old player who's been impressive the last couple of seasons in the Bundes and could fit our mentality with what we're trying to do with our new system and is only getting better as well, I think it's actually a steal of a deal. So I hope that, United do try and get this guy signed up in the January window, because we need somebody there. Like, I'm not saying he's the second coming of Jesus here or anything in the midfield. I don't think he's going to be the the next, for instance, Keno or Scholesy or whatever. But I'm just saying, I think we need a good standard player in here. We need some good players who can work well in a Rangnick system. And if Rangnick has identified him as somebody he thinks could do that, then that's who we should get. We shouldn't get somebody that is not quite right for a Rangnick system. Okay, let's give Pogba a chance. Let's, put him in there and see if he can fit in a Rangnick system, see if he can do what Rangnick wants, see if he can not bottle it, see if he can be consistent. Or we could just get rid and then go and get somebody like this who probably will be better in the sense of being consistent. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Pogba's fantastic on his day, but his day doesn't come often enough. And we need to make changes in the midfield. Look at Donny Van Der Beek the other day. I want him to have more chances just to see if that was a bad game. But he really didn't impress that much. He just didn't. He just didn't impress that much. He made a big error, and all throughout the rest of the game, it was kind of average. It just wasn't he started the game well, but it just petered out very quickly. It wasn't a good display. Big concerns for our midfield going forward there with Donny Van Der Beek and Matic as well, and also Fred to choose from. There's big concerns. We do need to get somebody in January. That is absolutely true. By the way, lots of ones coming in the live chat. Oh, not that many ones, actually. Just literally Naz would take him, and also Girish Ramlakun says one and Pogba out. So not that many people too interested in Hydera by the looks of it, but I think he would be a good signing for the money. 33 is nothing in today's football. It's not very much money at all for a player like that. So I think that could be a good signing. The Bundesliga side, though, they understand so they're going to possibly work on signing him up to a new contract as well and raise the release clause. So he does have a 33 million clause on him. This is what CEO Oliver Mintzlaff said about him. He says, Dudu is one of my favourite players. By the way, they call him Dudu. That's his nickname. You fucking what? He says, Dudu is one of my favourite players. I told him today. Of course, he is also a player that Ralf Rangnick loves. So they're aware of the situation. The CEO said this. He says, Dudu's one of my favourite players. I told him today. But of course, he's also a player that Ralf Rangnick loves. So Ralf Rangnick, very keen on Dudu, or as we're going to call him, Amadou. Amadou Hydera, but they call him Dudu, apparently. But there you go. Anyway, so Amadou Hydera, potential for Manchester United in January. That is number 3 on the top 5 possible signings for Manchester, or transfers in general, ins and out for January. Yeah, that's right. Man United Hodge says, with a $5 Aussie super chat, thank you, Hodge. He says, love the nickname you gave Mengi. Dead End Mengi. Yeah, Dead End Mengi. Because once you get up close and personal with Ted N, you reach a dead end, my son, because it's no access allowed. It is access denied. You shall not pass. So yes, Dead End Mengi. I was proud of that one myself. Thank you very much there. Thank you very much there, Man United Hodge. Let's get a saw in there for Man United Hodge. Or Gungshi getting a doo-doo in there. Could you imagine that? Amadou Hydera, his nickname's Doo-doo. He comes in. He scores a goal and he goes, doo. That would be fucking epic. Anyway, hey, thank you so much, Gungshi, for getting in there with that. Jarvis Cocker says, haha, Doo is the 444222. Oh, man. Hey, Rushmano says we got 81 likes on the stream. Let's see if we can get 100 likes on the stream, guys. Smash the thumbs up if you're just getting in here and joining us for tonight's stream. We're covering the latest realistic transfers for January. So he's a possibility. Amadou Hydera. One potential, I just want to give you all the facts here. One potential stumbling block on this one is that he is off to the Africa Cup of Nations next month with Mali. And thus, it's going to be tricky, really, to get him signed up and even available in Jan. So that is actually, that's the only bad thing about the situation, because he is going to the Africa Cup of Nations. And so it makes it more difficult for it to happen. But it could be arranged. It could be, I'm not really too sure of the dates of the Africa Cup of Nations. So I'd have to look into that to know if it's even feasible. But it does seem like that could be a stumbling block. That's the only one there. That's the only problem with that one, really. Okay, so Amadou Hydera, there you go. Also, let's get on to the next one then, dudes. Let's get on to the next one. So who else is linked with the club, you ask? Well, there's a few players. And there's also players that are linked away from the club. So who did I want to get into next? So the biggest one, really, that I wanted to talk about next was so hang on, who have we done? We get Donny Van Der Beek. Donny Van Der Beek, guys. Donny Van Der Beek. Is he going to go in January? I mean, there's talks about this. So he didn't play well last time out. He didn't have a very, very good performance. He's not played a lot of football recently. He's understood to be frustrated. He was pissed off under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer about not playing. You could see that. He was chucking the chewing gum out and doing the old Fergie with that chewing gum. You know, he was not happy, and understandably so, because he'd been signed for 34 mil and he hadn't played any football in a year, and then he was told that he was part of the squad and then he wasn't played at all. So if I'm him, I'm desperate to play football. I want to leave. I want to go play for somebody else, to be fair, because United aren't going to play him that often. Unless Rangnick is going to give the faith in Donny over the next 5, 6, 7 games and give him a chance, a fair crack in the side to play, then I would be knocking on his door saying, please get me out of this club, Ralf. Because facts are the facts, you know, he's okay, but he hasn't done anything to set the world alight. It's not like he's come off the bench and scored screamer after screamer and is undeniable and you have to put him in there. He's kind of been a bit bang average. I think he's got great abilities on the ball, and I think that, you know, he could be a good player in the future. I think it's harsh to judge him on that one game, but what you also have to remember is, you know, we're kind of up against young boys, standard team here. They're not exactly the best side. He's let us down in the game by making an error which has cost us a goal, and all aside from that, he wasn't that impressive with the rest of his performance. So he's another player that could be sold, I think, because he could generate cash. There's other teams that could be interested in it. I mean, Mr. Zayn Miasi's in here earlier. You know, that is a team that I could see him going to play for. Arsenal, you know, maybe that's a good sort of team for him to go play for. Somebody like that, Spurs or whoever. There's a bunch of teams that have been linked to him. He's a good standard player, but he's just not quite good enough, I don't think, to suggest, right, he's perfect for a Rangnick system. I don't mean he's not a good enough player. I mean, for a Rangnick system, if I'm Rangnick, I'm looking at players, you know, I want them to be very, very mobile in that midfield. I just don't think that Donny Van Der Beek's the one. Is sitting in front of your back line and being a number 6? Yes, I guess so. But the rest of it, or being a number 8 getting forward, or, you know, I guess he's got the creative ability with his passing. We can't just change our opinions of Donny because of one game. It was a shit game from him, but it's like, I'm just trying to scratch my head and say, what has he actually done? There is that game when he came on at half-time for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his last game, and he scored off the bench. That's really all I can remember him doing for Manchester United. So you've got to be fair and say maybe, just maybe, there's better players that we could put in there than Donny Van Der Beek. What do you think? And also, if you're Rangnick and you've got limited funds because Man United spent big money in the summer and we got Varane in and all those guys, Ronaldo and all the rest of it, you can't spend a lot of money this January. Plus, he's only here on a temp basis. So he needs to generate money in order to be able to restructure things. I think he has the freedom to do that. He's coming here with certain assurances and also with a future role at the club behind the scenes. So he's going to influence the side and influence our expenditure and our structure a little bit. I'm pretty sure of that. And so if he sees it fit that he wants to get Jesse and get Donny off the books in Jan, sell them, redistribute that money in the squad to sign some other player, I can see that happening because Donny does have a decent cash value. He's only 24. He's a Dutch international, or was before we fucking ruined his career. And he could go back to Ajax. He could go anywhere. So the world is Donny's oyster, really. He's still young, but Man United are just holding him back. And unless Rangnick's going to play him every week and say to him, lad, Donny, you are my midfielder, then if I'm Donny, I'm wanting to leave because he's just not. He's wasting away here. He's wasting his career at Manchester United so far. Hassan Yusuf, hello. Big up, my son. Thank you very much for joining us, Hassan. And everybody else as well. So let's get your thoughts in on Donny. Kate Cadet says, I never rated Donny. He's not a United player, says Naz. Jarvis Cocker says, Amadou Hydera is the next Naby Keita. It's a no from me. Okay, but, Rangnick has said previously that in his system, when he was at Leipzig, he'd rather have Naby Keita than Paul Pogba. That's a direct quote, because for his system, for what he does, for what he wants, Keita was better. That's actually a direct quote from Rangnick at the time. And so what does that tell you? Well, it kind of makes me think that he's right. It's not all about who's the best technical player. It's also about who does what for your team and what role can they do for your team. And if you want the team to perform in a certain way, you need to have people doing different roles, and you want the best person in that role to perform in that role. And if Pogba's not going to perform the Naby Keita role, then it's horses for courses, my son. We can't judge Donny when he's playing with shit Lingard and Mata, says GTL Red. True, absolutely. But how about the individual error that he made in the game, though? You know, it has nothing to do with Lingard or Manta, to be fair to him. That is just Donny making an error, you know, psychologically speaking here. That's got to hurt, confidence-wise. You know, I'm just worried for Donny. You know, he is a good chance for him in that game. Come on, Young Boys is not a good standard team. The more experienced players in that game should have been able to shine. That's what's annoying about that. The youngsters coming on, you know, they're not expected to really do all that much. You know, it's their first big game under the lights at Old Trafford, tough game. But some of the experienced guys in that game I was disappointed with. People like Donny Van Der Beek, and I was expecting more. People like, you know, because he's got a point to prove. People like Jesse Lingard, I was expecting a lot more from him because he's also got a point to prove and surely a position in the side to fight for. So, yeah, I was very disappointed with some of the performances, Donny being one of them. Calvin Phillips wants Liverpool, says Sim. I want to see Neves and Bellingham at United. Mikato, thank you very much for getting in here because I wanted to talk about Bellingham right now. And you know what? Maybe he'll be my number 5. Maybe he'll be my number 5 to cap off the list. I mean, there's a few, isn't there? There's Tony Martial. He's a possibility that could leave. Maybe not in January, but there's a few players that could. You know, Mata is definitely coming to an end to the club. There's a bunch of players that could go in January, I suppose, but I don't think any of them will. I think they'll stay to the end of the year. You know what I was just about to say? So, if I was manager of Manchester United, who would I try and go and sign? You just said it. Bellingham. Because Bellingham's doing absolute bits. He's only 18 years of age. He seems like the next, just like standout, breakout star midfielder for club and country, to be honest. And he's only 18. Now, I would go and try and sign this guy before you have to pay £100 million for the guy because he looks like the real deal. And going forward in a couple of years' time, it will be a little bit harder to get in. There will be a little bit more competition. I'm just saying there's possibilities for player swaps and things when United can get players off of our books. Hey, Dortmund, do you fancy Tony Martial, a really great experienced player in his prime, who'll probably do bits for you over there in the Bundes? What do you fancy? You know, take 40 million off our offer. We'll give you, a couple of mil. How's that sound? I'm just saying he's worth a lot of money, but there's other options you can do here. Jesse Lingard, you fancy a bit of Jay Ling's action going in the opposite direction? I bet they would. I bet Jesse Lingard would fit in lovely at Borussia Dortmund. I reckon he would be fantastic at Borussia Dortmund, don't you? So I'm just saying, like, if United wanted to get serious, there's somebody like that, that could come in and and do the job for us. It would be Bellingham. I think he'll be fantastic in the future. One of the best players in his position probably in 5 years' time. Does he do the deal for us right now? Does he do the business for us right now? Probably yes, actually. Probably yes. He seems very, very good. Seems very good. So I think he probably could do the business for us now. He seems, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Age is just a number. Some players develop different ages as well. We'll have to see. You don't want to give too much too soon to Jude Bellingham. You want him to develop properly. But I think that it wouldn't hurt us to have another player like that. Because in the future, he's like the Mason Greenwood of the midfield. Send them Phil Jones, says Sim, but now we'd have to give them extra money. Okay, Ryan says, great experienced player in his prime, LOL. He scored about 10 goals in his last 50. Fair one, listen, I'm just trying to sell him to him. I'm not going to say he's shit. And he's only, you want to try and sell him to him, Ryan. But no, to be fair, you've got a good point. That's why I'm happy to sell Tony Martial at the football club, because he's not quite up to the standard of, not quite up to the standard of all the other players, really, if we're being honest. Jesse Lingard has a lot of potential, though, says Dabo. We need Sancho to step up, says Mark Coughlin. Looks good over the last couple of games, not lying. Yeah, also, so interesting. So FC Barcelona are considering an offer of around 40 million euros for Ter Stegen. What's this? Hang on a second. Barcelona will consider an offer of 40 million euros for Ter Stegen and 80 million euros for Frankie de Jong. That's quite interesting. So we've got some rough prices coming in. So you know how Barcelona need to sell a bunch of players. Frankie de Jong, 80 million euros. Would you pay 80 million euros for Frankie de Jong? To be fair, that is basically what they paid Ajax for him a couple of seasons ago. I think they paid like 65 million, somewhere in that region. So, it is his valuation, to be fair. That's where they're going to try and cash in and sort their financial problems out, is by some of their most prized, highest priced assets. So it does seem like Frankie de Jong would be a good player for them to sell because they generate a lot of cash for him? No, says Madhouse. What do you think his price would be then? I mean, 80 million euros is a lot. That's like 60 million pounds. I don't know. I'd say in this market, it's pretty fair. In this market, it's kind of pretty fair for what's going on and, you know, how much players go for. It's not the end of the world, is it? 60 million pounds for a top-class midfielder. They're going to sell the whole squad, says Naz. Yeah, I would take De Jong. He's a big improvement over Donny, says Ryan. Absolutely, that Dutch vibe, but a better one. We paid 80 million for Maguire. I would definitely pay that for De Jong, says El Professor. I'm with you, sir. Wiggy, he says he's one of the few players I'd spend a bit more on, but 80 million is a push. Good point, good point. Well, maybe with, like we say, somebody going the opposite direction. Cheeky little sweetener of a deal. Barcelona do want to sign other players. That is what we know of. They don't just want to sell players and sort their finances out and not worry about the team. They actually want to buy other players. They just want to redistribute that cash, and they want to obviously bank a bit of it to pay off some of these financial woes that they've got. But also they want to try and still remain competitive. So they've got to try and sign other players. So there will be a level of redistribution going on there. How could you judge Donny in that game when he hadn't played for ages, says Rupert Meadow? I judge a player in every game, really. I want to see commitment. I want to see tenacity. I want to see a bit of bottle from him. I didn't really see that from Donny. I saw a scared little boy. And when you're coming up against young boys, that is a big concern, man. That's just my opinion. I mean, listen, it wasn't a great game. Nobody's expecting miracles from that team that was put out there. I'm just expecting some of the individuals who have a point to prove that point. That's what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting them to prove the point of all the doubters, because that's all he did in that game. Same with Jay Lings. So look, the United way, I think you've got to be brutal. You've got to be harsh. I think United should be about form. It should be about taking your opportunities. If you get given a chance, boy, you better take it, because there's so many different players that are coming in prepared to play in your position instead of you. So you better take your chance when you get it. That's sort of what I want it to be. I don't want it to be, hey, let's give him more chances now. I kind of feel like players have had too many chances this season. Not Donny, to be fair. Not Donny at all. But let's see an actual justification for their starting berth in the next team's lineup. Like, let's see, based on performance, who's going to play. Like, we all know the next game coming up against Norwich, he's rested Tellez, he's rested Dalot for the game. They didn't play in the Champions League game. Good reason, because they're the players that are in form right now in those positions. It would be mad to play Wan-Bissaka or Luke Shaw in that game against Norwich now, if you ask me, because they're not in form. So, you know, that's what you should do. Donny didn't look exactly in form the other day against Young Boys. You know, let's be honest. Do you trust him to do the job against Norwich in the midfield? Yes or no? Do you trust Donny to do the job against Norwich in the midfield? Yes or no? Answer me. Answer me, damn it. No, honestly. I do feel like he would, he could do. He's, you know, come on, Norwich is shit, to be honest. But, you know, like, I just mean it's not a guarantee that you're going to get a good performance from Donny. No, says Nas. No, says United. How you doing, Ilya? Hey, Berber says we got 100 likes. Come on, get in there, my son. 100 likes on the tally, my son. Dana, 100 likes, baby. Thank you, everyone, for hitting the thumbs up. Do smash the like if you just joined us. I appreciate everyone who's done that. Nice one. Michael Mattern says yes. Kenny says no. Madhouse says no. Ilya United says nah. Well, there you go. There you go. It's not the most confidence, is it, about Donny? That's the problem we've got, is that he's a decent player, but he's not exactly filling you with confidence. It's not like when Bruno first came into the side and he's just ripping it up. He's never done that for us. So what is your major reasoning behind thinking that he should play? I think Donny does deserve a couple of chances, though. Mark Hoffman says, I think Donny will come good by the end of the season. I think he deserves some chances. He's barely played, to be fair. Night Owl with a $4.99 super chat. He says, I think with this new coach, we'll be playing a more pressing football. Night Owl, do you think? I think you're right, Night Owl. I think we are going to play the Gegenpress style of play. We're going to be up there in the face of the opposition in the final third, pressing. And, you know, when we close them down quickly, when we lose possession of the ball, get it back quickly and move it forward quickly. That is the fundamentals of a Gegenpress style of play, which he is the godfather of. So, you know, it's a high-pressing intensity style of play. We should see that. You're absolutely right, Night Owl. In the future, we are definitely going to be more of a pressing side. Absolutely. De Jong is Donny part 2, says United. Wiggy says Donny needs a proper chance with the first full team. Absolutely right. Okay, guys, a few more little things to get into here Other links to the club and other links away from the club, as we've discussed. Diogo Dalot, I don't think Dalot's going anywhere, by the way. But there is a link here with AS Roma that they're interested in him and they could take him on a loan with an option to buy him in the future. So that's a possibility. Also, Gini Wijnaldum is offered on loan to several Premier League clubs. This is supposedly what we're hearing as well. Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum, yes or no at United? Anyway, I'm just going to say he's been, apparently PSG obviously paid him £300,000 a week to sign a new contract and move to them in the summer on a free. He's 31. He's growing increasingly concerned about his lack of minutes at PSG, and he has held talks with the club management and hierarchy about his predicament. Sources with knowledge of the situation have told 90 Mins that intermediaries are working on finding him a potential loan move in the new year. PSG realised that they should sanction a move, which is far from guaranteed. They will have to cover a significant portion of his hefty wages, and as such, a move back to England is probably the best option for him, although clubs in Germany, Italy and Spain have also been informed of his potential availability. So there's a link with Gini Wijnaldum being offered to Premier League clubs. So, they're obviously paying a lot of money for him and he's not playing that much over there. PSG, look, they got unlimited resources there, but even they need to justify financial fair play and all the rest of it, or, at least try and spend within their means. So surely anybody who's not used, anybody that's not working out in the squad, they're going to have to get rid of. So maybe that could be an option. Yeah, Wijnaldum to do what? Make tea? He's a good player, to be fair. He is good box-to-box player, Ilya United says, Wijnaldum is a good player. Eddie says, yeah, he's awesome on the ball. His PSG ties extinguish the former scouse. It's a very good point, Eddie, because he's not moved directly from one club to another. Like, if he was coming from Liverpool, that would just be horrible. But because he's gone to PSG, you're right. It's not the most ridiculous of links. Genie is a scouser, but he does bits in the premises. Man United Hodge. Mark Compton says, fuck off, Maureen, you're not getting him. Exactly, do want Mourinho. He's having a stinker in Serie A this season. You can see why he wants him, though. Ilya says, I would take Genie. You'd take Genie at United, would you? He's better than the other options. That he says he's better than McTominay. Yeah, I agree. Big God Bob says, Bellingham's only on 50k a week. This is what I'm saying, man. For Man United putting a decent offer, I'm sure he'd jump at the chance of playing for Manchester United right now. I would take an ex-Scouser, Stefan, but not really. Hey, he's not my number one choice, Stefan, but I'm just saying, if it got to the end of the window, the January window, and somebody said, would you like to take Gini Wijnaldum or signs nobody? I would rather have Wijnaldum in this squad come the end of the January window than not. But I'm not saying he's my number one choice. There's many midfielders I'd rather sign ahead of him. But I'm just saying if he was offered to the club, then it would not be the end of the world to sign Gini Wijnaldum. He's a decent standard player, and he would probably fit in with what Rangnick's trying to do as well. So it wouldn't be the end of the world. Anyway, we'll have to see. Yeah, fair enough. GTO Red says no thanks, Gini. Another old midfielder. Okay, he's only 31 though. But I see what you're saying. We did sign Michael Owen. Exactly, Naz786. Hey, it's happened before, mate. Get in there. Thank you so much. Eddie02 says 97 likes, guys. Get Pigo to 100. Yes, smash the thumbs up button on the stream if you haven't done so. I thought we already got to 100 likes. But yes, do hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done so. No way, never says Sim. He would get multiple death threats by the Dippers if he came. That's a good point, Rushmoney. That's true. He would rather someone with a longer shelf life. Good point. But anyway, that is off the vine. So it does seem like he may well be. To be fair, this doesn't say anything about him being offered to Manchester United. It just says that he will be offered to Premier League clubs with the lack of minutes that he's had at PSG and obviously with his big wages and stuff. So that's a possibility. You might see him back in the Premier League in January. Probably not at United, but you never know. Okay, so also, what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, so Cristiano Ronaldo has scored 140 Champions League goals, right? And there's a comparison that Statman Dave put on the yesterday morning of his goals compared to certain teams, and it's so funny. Spurs have scored 108 goals in the Champions League throughout their whole history. Lazio 93, Napoli 80, Fiorentina 63, Mönchengladbach 110, Sporting 132. Ronaldo has 140. What an absolute goat! More goals than a lot of teams have in the competition. Some of the, some good teams, some not great teams as well, like Spurs. Speaking of Spurs, Tottenham request to postpone game against Brighton, and that's been accepted. So Tottenham request request to postpone game to the Premier League after mass COVID-19 outbreak, and that has apparently been confirmed as being allowed. So it says, a statement from Tottenham said, we can confirm that our Premier League fixture at Brighton and Hove Albion on Sunday the 12th of December at 2 p.m. has been postponed following a Premier League board meeting this afternoon, Thursday. The Premier League board took the decision to postpone the game following guidance from medical advisors with the health of the players and staff the priority. The fixture will be rescheduled in due course. So there you go. Spurs are in a little bit of trouble now. Conte's got his work cut out for him, but it seems like they're not going to actually make them play games. They're just going to rearrange them all. So it's a disruption, but it's actually not the end of the world because they'll have players available soon to replay those games. Right then, guys, I'm just going to get into the comments for a couple of minutes. That's basically it with the transfers. That we've gone through the links. Hydera to us. There's a few other players linked to us. De Jong. There's a couple of other players. Everybody's linked to us right now. Any player who's ever played for Leipzig is linked to us right now, it seems. But we'll give you the latest goings on at the club as and when the major sort of news does take place. We'll keep you up to date. So make sure you are subscribed and you click the bell emoji and all that business. But yeah, I'll stick around for just a couple of minutes. Oh shit, is that the time? Fuck, I'm going to have to wrap this video up, guys. I've got to get on and do FIFA shortly. I didn't realise it's 11:15. Holy shit. Right, I'll be back in a bit then. Thank you very much for joining us. Rupert Meadows, Samat Benza, Naz, El Professor, GTO Red. You're going to have to come back, get your thoughts and opinions in after this video is finished, because we've got to get on and do a FIFA stream shortly. So yeah, I did set it up for 11:30. Crikey, mate. She's laughing and said, oh, thank you, Rush Mono. Says, great show. Thanks for watching, Rush Mono, getting in there. Absolute Don. Thanks for all the updates throughout. Man United Hodge as well. Catch you in a bit, my good sir. Dab O and Leon H as well. Take it easy. Rupert Meadow, Joe Boom Boom, Ryan, Career Mode. Yeah, we'll have to have a look at that. We're doing Ultimate Team tonight, though. Haaland's going to Chelsea. You think so, Samat? I'm not so sure. Goodbye, Naz. See you later, Kate Cadet. Thank you so much. He says, well done, mate. Great show. Thank you so much, Kate Cadet. Yeah, please do hit the thumbs up button before you go. Leave a like on the vid. Give it a subscribe if you're new. Follow us on social media at Flying Pig United on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Check out the website as well, unitedflyinghigh.com. Bye, Naz. Bye, Aaron. Big God Bob, Ryan, GTL Red, Illy, Johnny, all the members, all the non-members, all the mods, everybody in the chat, everybody who's watched, all the lurkers. Thank you so much for watching. That's the end of the show. I'll see you on the next one. This is the big. Take it easy. And come on, United. And also, remember, when the sea goes, follow the trawler. As this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the zoo. Thank you very much. So